What up, everybody? Welcome back. I'm your host, JP, and this is my co-host, Josh.
I hate this. Hey, everybody.
This is my co-host, Josh.
Hi, everyone.
There you go. Stick to the script. What are you doing?
You
And welcome back to another episode of the FilmBros podcast.
Oh, my God.
With the Flash coming out this week, all right, Josh, you being as hyped as you can be, and, I can't, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Everybody's hyped about this movie. I've been hearing left and right, everything that I keep hearing bad about the movie is just CGI. Everything else seems to be okay, where some people could be harsher. We've read some reviews where, I think it was Screen Rant that gave it like a 2.
Yeah.
We're hearing that it's not the worst movie, but it's not the best movie either. It's whatever. And some weird news came out a few days ago. Basically, somebody from Brazil posted a picture of a contract, or maybe not a contract, but maybe like a packet, basically saying that you are not allowed to talk negatively about this movie because of the fact that it's not a finished version that they're watching. So, we've been getting a lot of fan screenings. Like I told you before in a different episode, I feel like everybody's watched it but us. Like, we're outside the club, So, there's people in comments that say this is real. There's some people that are saying it's not. And if that's the case, why is only some places getting this? I traced it back to the original person who tweeted it, and he says that WB has even messaged him to take it down, but he has yet to do so. So, I mean, I don't know, man. What do you think? Is this still the hype train that you believe it is, or do you feel like this is, manufactured hype? Do you feel like the tone's gonna change when the movie comes out? Because and one more thing to take into factor real quick is the projections keep dropping. At first, it was 130 to 140 million. Now it's like 100 to 110 million, and then it dropped. Now, I believe right now, currently, at the time of recording this, it's projected to make like about 70 to 75 million, maybe 80.
Damn. Yeah, no. This movie it's not doing hot, especially after all those leaks. Oh, boy.
Yeah, that's true. All the leaks are out now.
My hype for it has honestly dwindled. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I saw any of those leaks. I just know they leaked. But, the way the internet reacts, I understand it is probably negative. This doesn't help. Granted, it probably came out when they seen it, however long ago. I don't think it's a recent thing. But telling people to be like, oh, yeah, I saw it, but you can't say anything bad about it is kind of fucked up. Because while it is not finished, you should have shown them something that they can still call bad. Because you can hate something and it not be finished. You can hate the concept and ideas. You can be like, well, I didn't really like this. But then you're like, well, basically it not being finished means you can't be too harsh on it. But you can still dislike it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like, like how you said, you get the main story, VFX or whatever. Can they easily just be like, oh, it's gonna look better. You just gotta understand that it's just underdeveloped.
Yeah,
like it's gonna look better the day of. But it's hard to think that this is a copy that they've been playing. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's seen the final cut. Apparently, nobody's seen the final cut. Apparently, the only people that seen the final cut were the actual like reviewers, supposedly, and that's why all this shit started leaking out. But why would any of these people who do reviews, like those actual like top tier, the ones that go on like Rotten Tomato critics and shit like that, like why would they take pictures and post them online? If that's the case, then that means that people who are doing leaks are seeing the full film already and posting them online. So regardless, this contract is not, because maybe this contract is from like earlier screenings or some shit like that, and it's barely maybe making its rounds to see the light of day. But regardless, regardless, telling these people, hey, you can't say that is bad, but at the same time, that's why I think at least a good chunk of reviews, I don't know if you've seen them, but a good amount would be like the CGI is still unpolished, or it would be like, oh, believe the hype or whatever, and then be like, though it's unfinished, the story is really good or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of the tweets would come out looking the same, or some of the reviews that would come out looking the same, and I'm just like, is this like, yeah, I'm not sure. There's a lot of weird stuff, and here's my thing with all these people coming out that are like famous and rich, like we said it before, Jaden Smith, Tom Cruise, David Zaslav, all these people, James Gunn, all these people coming out saying that it's good, like one of the best movies out there, best movie of 2023. Why is the general public saying nah? If that was the case, a good chunk of people would be like, yeah, and then the minority would be like, nah. But it seems like it's a 50-50 split.
I don't know, dude. I can't even put my finger to it, because, again, it could all be manufactured. We don't know for sure. Or, people have their own reasons for not liking the movie. Because, I mean, watching an unfinished product can also taint your idea, and then maybe they just don't like Ezra, so they're like projecting their hate of Ezra onto the whole movie, or whatever. Different circumstances, but the consensus is this movie sucks. So like, you kind of gotta believe everybody and be like, well, this movie might not be everything that they say it is.
I'm just worried about that ending, man. If leaks are true, and I'm not even talking about the recent leaks, I'm talking about like the stuff that that were on set. That people that were on set keeping it hushity hush, you know what I mean? They leaked whole scenes now. I haven't even seen those scenes. I'm talking about the little things and tidbits that the scoopers were giving us. And if scoopers can be correct, it sounds like I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, so I don't know if I should say it. What do you think? Should I say it? Is it too much of a spoiler if it actually happens? Like, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, obviously.
Probably not. No, I don't know.
You never heard the scoops?
No.
Didn't we talked about it actually, that Clooney might be involved by the end of the movie?
Yeah.
We talked about it.
Yeah, we did.
So I don't know if it's a huge spoiler, so I would suggest if anybody just wants to know nothing, skip a little bit ahead, but are you good with it if I just say?
Yeah, it's fine.
It seems like, here we go, guys. It seems like that if it's true, that if George Clooney is at the end, if they signal to it, if they indicate it, or regardless, does that mean that they're dumping the Snyderverse in the Clooneyverse? What that mean isn't that what that would mean, right? Or unless that's James Gunn's new DCU, I don't think we're gonna. I think the Flash is gonna be like the end all be all if those scoops are correct. And from what I'm hearing online, it's not sounding so good. So I'm not 100% sure what is what is and what isn't around right now. Is just a bunch of rumors, bunch of speculation, and I don't know.
Oh my God.
Can we respect him if that's the route that they go?
Hell no. I as much as I have expectations for this movie to be good, I am telling you, man, I'm gonna be so upset. Like unfathomably upset. You know what I mean? Like, I will feel so robbed if I see Clooney at the end of this fucking movie and they're just like, oh, everything happened here, because oh man, I'd feel so robbed. If at the end of the movie I'm as quiet as, quiet as all hell, I had a bad experience. Because it's not even like a mind-blown quiet. Because when we came out of Spider-Verse, I was talking nonstop about it. If I'm a silent dude, if I'm so, quiet, you'll know I'm fucking angry. Because that'll disappoint me for real.
If it comes out and this movie's not what everybody's hyping it up to be, I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to be done with. I'm going to be like, look, I'm going to have to believe everything that all this shit is showing me, and I'm going to have to be like, nah, Warner Brothers tried to fucking finagle everybody. You know what I mean? Like, it's really just that they put too much money into this movie that they can't scrap it. That's what I'm thinking at this point. Like, it's just every little thing that comes out is not good. And I know a lot of people are out there, oh, it's just the Snyder cult is making, rumors and shit. Rumors aside, if this movie comes out and look, and it wows me, it's good, whatever, and I just don't like the ending because of wherever it leaves off, because obviously we're going to a new DCU, I could take that. I could be like, okay, it was a good movie. But if it's a shit movie and then at the end it's a shit ending and doesn't even give the characters a proper send off, then I'm not. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna rank this for what it is, but it's not nobody trying to despair anything or shoot anything in the leg. It's just it sounds like to me like manufactured hype, and all they want is to fill those seats up with people because they gotta pay some bills. And they, like I said, if they could scrap this, like they could have scrapped Batgirl, they would have fucking done it, 100%. They don't care how good the story is, they would have scrapped this shit in a heartbeat because you got to think of everything that's going against it, right? We got the split fandom, Ezra Miller. You know what I'm saying? Ezra Miller. Now it has some or a lot of the backstage stuff that's going on behind the scenes with Warner Brothers, right? The writer strike that's going on right now, that apparently Zaslav's really in a bad eye for. Some of the good things that are going for it, possibly, maybe, that apparently Ezra Miller is a good actor in there. So that's word of mouth's going good about that. Michael Keaton coming back as Batman, depending on who you like. That's like a 50-50 positive, because depending on who you ask, I'm pretty sure not a lot of people are so excited for this. This is the first Flash movie. I mean, that has to, have something good, and that's such a bad thing too, because if it's the first Flash movie and it's not a good movie, damn. I don't know. It's just so much going on. It's. I think I just want to see this movie and put it behind me at this point. I think that's where I'm at. Like, I just want to see it and just say that I saw it so I could be over all this.
Honestly, yeah, because the anticipation is killing me. Even as excited as I am for it, it's irritating because I'm on that same boat where I want to see it just to see what it comes out to. You know what I mean? Good or bad, I want to see what it comes out to.
We're almost there. A few more days. Pretty soon everything will be out there. Pretty soon we'll finally feast our eyes on this. No press from Ezra, so we're not going to hear anything from him at all. We'll probably see him at the premiere. That's it. Yeah. What a movie. What a ride. To think that it's almost over. That's the thing. To think that this is gonna, we're almost to the very end of all this shit.
Years of just script changes, hands touching this movie, this and that, and like if it doesn't end up good or at least decent, it would have been for nothing. Also, James Gunn can have his universe. That's all this is leading up to.
Why you say it like that? It's not just for James Gunn to get his universe.
Yeah,
bro.
it is.
No, it's not.
Yes.
No. Well,
at this point, yeah, it is. Before it was
they're
Hamada
They're just trying to make a DCU.
Before when it was Hamada, he was trying to retcon Snyder. That was the purpose of this film. Now it's to be done with all of it, so James Gunn can start anew.
That's true too. And how dirty would it be if he sent some to the Clooneyverse, man? That's just the only thing that's disrespectful to me. I'm just like, damn, bro, you're just gonna send him to the Clooneyverse and call it a day? That shit. And I know, he wasn't around for the rest of the movie, but the ending, he has hands in 100%. He wasn't around for the whole movie, but the way where the ending's at and everything, he has a say. You're not about to tell me that Shazam 2 had Hardcore and what's his face in there way before. You know what I mean? That shit, no, there's no way in hell. Nah. But it's almost here. Pretty soon we'll stop talking about this.
Yeah, eventually.
Or maybe it will
probably not
be
depends on how salty cemented. I am.
This is like, honestly, this is like a big point in like cinema history. The Flash. 10 years in the making. Fucking so much drama. Fucking criminal charges. People being racially motivated to kick people out of movies for whatever reason. Another director being sucked in and having beef with them. Another director's vision being scrambled and chewed up and spit out. Directors quitting superhero genre altogether. This movie, the historic impact it has on Hollywood, cinema, film in general, will finally disappear in about a week.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the aftermath happens.
And that's a whole new era. I can't wait for that
that's
one.
something else. that is something else.
This era will die in the birth of a new one. Whether it's good or bad, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, for sure.
Are we gonna see evil or good Barry? We will see. But moving on though, somebody who should be getting credit and honestly sounds great. I'm not sure 100%, but I'm gonna take your word on it, and I'm gonna tell you what Jenna Ortega says because she speaks on being a producer for season 2. I didn't see Wednesday.
Yeah.
You have.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna talk about this next topic in a second, but she's been basically coming out talking about mental health and what she has to do to have become a producer. The challenges that she needs to put up with as being an actor versus director.
Yeah.
And it seems like this past week that passed by, a few actors came out and spoke about it. I think we have a topic later on about Arnold Schwarzenegger, who tried to speak his mind to a director and basically got shut down because they're just actors. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so here's Jenna Ortega. She basically she was on a Variety interview and basically said that becoming a producer is a natural progression. She said, with a character like Wednesday, who is so beloved, I didn't want to get her wrong. So I tried to have as many conversations as possible with the writers. We decided what works and what doesn't. In preparation for a second season, we just wanted to make sure that we could start the conversations earlier. I'm just so curious. I want to see outfits, new characters, scripts. They want that she wants to lean into the horror and the horror aspect more in season 2, and that they're going to be ditching the romantic love interest, which is really great.
Thank God.
We're going to get bolder, more darker. I've never had to do a serious period piece before. She says, I think we want to up the horror aspect a little bit and then get Wednesday out of the romantic situation, let her be her own individual and fight her own crime. So, and that's just a little bit into, I guess, Wednesday season 1. What do you think about all this? I haven't personally seen Wednesday.
That's good. I'm actually really, because the first season was cool. It did have that whole mystery element. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But thank God she's taking out the love interest shit, because it was it wasn't half of the story in season 1 was her being like bouncing back and forth between this love triangle that wasn't really a love triangle. It just felt very forced, and I was like, I'm not vibing with this. You know what I mean? One dude was like, I guess he knew her from when they were younger, and so he just automatically caught feelings after seeing her again. And then the other dude, she barely knew at the school she went to, and then he felt a type of way because so on and so forth. Their love triangle just didn't work out. So I'm glad they're just scrapping that idea altogether. And then I'm the fact that she wants to dive into more of that horror side and whatnot for season 2 is great, because I think it needed more of it in season 1.
I always thought the Addams Family was like a horror comedy type thing.
Well, yeah, it usually is. You know what I mean? It plays on that whole taking the concept and just kind of flipping it on its head for a very abnormal family. But yeah, that would be fun, because season 1 was funny and it had its moments, but in the end, it was kind of just what all the stuff that she mentions she wants more of and takes out would have helped season 1.
Okay, all right. I see you. She even goes as far to say on the round table with the Hollywood Reporter, saying that she's had experience in TV where she felt her voice wasn't heard, that she felt like she was just a puppet. You wouldn't know because you're not a writer. Just shut up and do your job. She says that since she was 12, she was hearing things like that, and so she went into Wednesday a little hesitant, but was fortunate to be working with someone like Tim Burton. And I guess pulled her in with the trailer, and I guess it pulled her in with the trailer and the sound voices that they had ready to go. So sounds like she found a good spot to be in. Now, it's true though, and this is something that maybe she just didn't understand, or maybe she just didn't get at the time. Not everybody aspires to be a producer. You know what I mean? Some actors are just like, hey, I'm gonna read what's on the line, and some of them do improv and bring something new and better to the table. Like it varies on actor to actor.
Yeah.
If you're a 12-year-old trying to give ideas, you're obviously gonna get dismissed because you're 12 years old. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not, and because it plays into like the whole mental health thing. She's gonna talk about it right now too. And, she's going to talk about how it kind of takes a toll on her with, like, social media and stuff, as well as the pressures as, business. But to me, something like this, letting it get under your skin, knowing damn well that you are the puppet. I don't know who, I think we talked about it the other day, but somebody, like, expressed it really well. Like, your job as an actor. Oh, Michael Shannon. He's explained it perfectly.
Yeah. He
literally said, your job is to convey whatever is on the paper in the best way possible for the director. That is your job. You know what I mean? If the writer wrote it like this and the director says to deliver it like this, that is your job and that's what you're supposed to do. Now, some people do have, their own ideas, and everybody has their own ideas. There's so many ideas in this world that, you could literally implode with all the ideas that people have. But not everybody's idea is amazing. You know what I mean? Everybody thinks that their idea is amazing, but not everybody's idea is amazing. So there's going to be times where you're going to get shut down. And especially if you're a younger person, barely coming up in Hollywood, there's going to be times where they're going to be like, nah, just do your job. You know what I mean? And that shouldn't be taken personal. I think that would be like, obviously, if you're in that position, you're going to take it personally. But at the same time, you got to think, at the end of the day, it's business. They're just, trying to do what's better for the show.
It's crazy because in the concept of like Wednesday and stuff, she did a lot of that though. A lot of the writing she fixed and like was like on Tim Burton's ass to be like, nah, this doesn't work. Like let me like spice this bitch up, and like so she had a good part in like spicing up the show, which I think worked for the better. Because again, when it worked, and when it didn't, you can tell it was kind of just a mixed bag of whatever the writers were cooking up. Because Netflix writers and their fucking love triangles.
Mm-hmm.
So like you can tell she had a big part in Wednesday coming out the way it did, which was probably better than the first thing she read. But becoming a producer is a little different. Because a lot of your stuff, like you said, a lot of the actor stuff is gonna be shut down because it's just like shut up and read the paper. Like what do you know about having ideas?
Yeah.
And like when she was younger, she worked for Disney, so you can imagine what Disney's writers would be like. You know what I mean? Like, just shut up, kid. Read the rules. Like, read the lines, and we'll worry about your character. You know what I mean? Like, that's like the best way to put it. And then she was on you, and I don't know if she had any pushback there, but you can really tell.
Yeah,
I see what she says, what she's saying.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that she probably didn't contribute good ideas and stuff like that, but it's, to me, at the end of the day, it sounds like an issue that she's making for herself because she wants that producer role. Like I said, not every actor wants to do that, Some people just come in, read their lines, improvise if they got to improvise, and sometimes the director takes different takes and goes with the best one and goes about their day. But, it's always good to bring something new and good and fresh to the table as an actor, bring some of your own ideas to bring to the performance. But at the same time, there's a fine line, between actor and what producer and whatever's happening. So once you become a producer and once you've shown that you had that initiative and that nudge and that drive, then, it's a different story. Now, if you have producer credits and you're still being neglected, that's a different story. You know what I mean? But if you're just an actor who's barely coming up, you know what I'm saying? Like, it shouldn't be too big of a deal, in my opinion. But I don't know. Everybody's story is different, but here's her talking about the whole mental health situation. This is the same thing on that round table with the Hollywood Reporter.
I'm going to be myself, and I'm going to be vulnerable because I want people to be able to watch movies and also get to know the people behind the camera and feel like they're attainable or realize that, people should never be put on a pedestal. Like, nobody is more special than another because of what they do. I've been exposed to the world in a sense, and they see your vulnerability and twist it in a way that you don't always expect. So it's just like it's so strange. Sorry, I don't mean to do this. I didn't even feel like I was going to do this, but it is like it's like such a hard thing to balance because it's how do you be honest without jeopardizing your own health and safety, and which is why it's so important, I think, for people to get off the phone.
Interesting.
What do you think?
I'm not sure, because this is in context to that whole like producer stuff, right?
Yeah.
And like I can understand that, like you want to be as authentic as you can on and off the camera. You know what I mean? Because that kind of sets your voice in the whole stew that is Hollywood. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I can get that, but at the same time, there's also a time and place for that. Like you don't have to be you portraying a character. You just have to be that character. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Some like I think that's probably the difference between half of these movie stars and then other actors. Like some people are just, we've said it before, but some people are just the Falcon, Captain America, this and that, and other people are The Rock, and so on and so forth. You know what I mean? So that's kind of, I think that's where I see this line she's trying to draw.
Well, the thing is that when you're an actor, not every role that you're going to take is going to go with your morals, right? Not align with what you want every single time.
Yeah.
If you want work, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you got to play that bad guy. But what are you trying to do?
Jim Carrey and Kick-Ass
And
too.
this is kind of like what I forgot who said it. We talked about it a few pods ago, but when they say like, social media is what's ruining like movie stars and stuff like that, you know what I mean? Because a lot of people see a lot of on social media and stuff like that, right? Yeah. What do you want to be? You want to be an influencer, or do you want to be a Hollywood star? You know what I mean? See, us, we want to be on podcasts. We want our opinions to to not be golden rule, but to be heard. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Talk stuff like that, have that conversation. Mm-hmm. So we are on social media. We need to be on social media. We got to promote it, whatever, and blah, 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 blah. Hollywood stars don't need to be on social media as much, if that makes sense, right? So when you're an influencer, you're on social media a lot to the point where they know every single thing, or at least whatever you portray on camera or whatever is on the computer, you're going to know about them, right?
Yeah.
If you are an Hollywood actor, you're going to be XY. It's kind of like with Jamie Lee Curtis. She's online or whatever. She says gun violence and blah, 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 whatever. But then she gets dragged for being in Halloween Ends and using a gun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then she has to come out and defend herself and blah, 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 blah. But she's a badass. She don't give a fuck what anybody says.
Basically.
Same thing with Chris Pratt. Like he came out and said some religious views or whatever, and blah, blah, blah. And then he was basically burned on the cross for it, right? Because he was, trying to express it. And then, a lot of people didn't know if Super Mario Bros. Was going to do good because of the whole controversy and blah, blah, blah. So if you don't want those kinds of controversies, if you don't want those problems, then be like Tom Cruise, who is never on social media unless he's posting himself jumping out of an airplane promoting a movie or something. You know what I mean? Or like all kinds of people. You see people have Twitter, but you don't see them using it as much. You're not like, you don't see your average James Gunn, your average, I think Rachel Zegler, she was in Shazam 2. And she was over here trying to defend the movie and promote it on Twitter and stuff like that, and found herself on the wrong side of Twitter with, a lot of people were saying a lot of Snyder cultists were bullying her because of whatever was happening. But if you're a Hollywood star, why are you meddling beneath with, Twitter users and stuff like that? You know what I mean? You're punching below your weight. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's not what you should be doing. You should be focused on being the best actor you can be, so people don't think like, Johnny Depp's image is kind of messed up. So is Will Smith. See, I'm trying to think of a lot. Like, social media is a real bad place to be. Like, you can be looked at really good or really bad. Let's say Johnny Depp before everything happened in 2016. Yeah, he was looked at as just a movie star, right? Mm-hmm. Edward Scissorhands. Everybody knew him from there. Everybody knew him as Jack Sparrow. Nobody knew anything else besides those things. But then once all those bad images came into light in 2016, now he's this terrible person. He's a woman beater, blah, 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 blah. Like, now he's barely building his career back up. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying with all this stuff?
I get you for sure. It's just, a lot of it is like yin and yang. Like you're gonna take a little bit of the good with the bad, and vice versa. That being said, like you just said, if you're gonna be on social media, you got to deal with the backlash. We've seen it with James Gunn. He tweets. What happens? Not only is he trying to be good and promote his stuff, but he gets dragged under with everything else, and he retaliates. So that's the bad. So a lot of it is just like that. But if she wants to be seen as being as authentic, social media probably isn't the way to go. Because a lot of it is like, oh, I wanna get to know you guys, Q&A in the fucking my story, this and that, But then you get sick comments that'll be like, oh, so on and so forth that she's talking about. So a lot of it is just that. So her trying to draw this line won't really do much in the grand scheme of things. Like on a personal level for her, probably. But in the grammar scheme of things, including fans and then Hollywood, it's not really going to do much.
Yeah, and people in the internet are assholes too. Come on, you gotta think that too. If you're gonna be on the internet, what do they always say? Like, if you're gonna post something, don't look at the comments. You know what I mean? I know constructive criticism is great, but a lot of the people on the internet, they're
it's not constructive.
Yeah, they're just
like, damn, this is ass, and then no reason as to
they'll take this like emotional scene that's in a movie that you're probably crying and look ugly, and then fucking turn you into a fucking meme. You know what I mean? Like that's how the internet works. So if you're on the internet, you should know exactly what's gonna happen. The people that don't have drama are the ones that aren't on social media. The ones that aren't dealing with all that shit is the people that just stay in their lane, act when they need to act. Stay below the radar, and that's it.
Exactly.
You never see Henry Cavill on social media, and then the one time he gets on social media to promote Superman, it fucking ruins him. It makes him look bad. You see what I'm saying? Basically, social media is just a terrible place. Stay away from it. Moving on, though, our next topic, our boy, the producer for Across the Spider-Verse, Chris Miller, decided to comment on superhero fatigue, letting us know if it exists or not. Now, we've discussed this before, and it's a common thing. And I ask people, and some people say, "Nah, I'm not tired of superhero movies." They say some movies are trash and they don't want to watch them, but some people say that they're not sick of them. But then some people say, "Yeah, it's just superhero stuff."
Yeah.
It's just, over and over, boom, 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 whatever, blah, blah, blah. And so Chris Miller basically comes into the ring, and the way he says his POV, he says, "I don't believe it's a superhero fatigue. I believe it's a movie that feels like a movie I've seen a dozen times before fatigue. If you're using the same story structure and the same style and the same tone and the same vibe as movies and shows that have come before, it doesn't matter what genre it is, you're going to be boring to people."
Exactly.
I mean,
that's the best way to put it. That's what we've been saying. Like, that's the consensus. It isn't superheroes. It's the way the stories are being told. Like, I don't want to see another MCU thing. I don't want this formula of like hero gets powers randomly. Now he's stuck in the shit. So now he has to fight the bad guy to get unstuck in the shit. We've seen it. We've been seeing it for 10 years now. Further, more than 10 years. It's time to get creative. If you want your movies to stick and stay and be known and like art, like Across the Spider-Verse is, you gotta expand your horizons. And the MCU, as someone put it on Twitter, this isn't my thing, but I'm a borrow it from them. They are conveyor belt movies. They are
MCU movies?
Yes, they are manufactured. They are wrapped in a bow, stamped approved, MCU approved, shipped for audiences to enjoy or hate. They've kind of been getting hate, so, but they are just zip zap zap, boom, zip zap zap, boom. Like there's no heart in them anymore. There probably never was, depending on where you stand. They just gotta get better.
No, I think a lot of people agree that it was there at a certain point. I think a lot of people agree. I think a lot of people agree that Marvel movies didn't really start feeling that way until after Endgame. It dipped in quality. I'm not gonna lie about that. And yeah, and he said it kind of like the same way Anthony Russo said it on the one podcast we covered with Zack Snyder, right? Where he basically said, if you keep feeding people vanilla, like they'll be fine with it at first, but you keep feeding them vanilla more and more and more, eventually they're going to spit it right back into your face, right? And that's basically how things are. And the MCU, though I will say they have not been feeding us over and over the same flavor, they've been serving us the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just wrapped up different. They're thinking that they're slick.
They're adding sprinkles.
It's basically Taco Bell, right? They're like, oh, today we're having a regular taco, and then the next day it's like, oh, it's a Crunchwrap now. But isn't it the same ingredients that a taco was in? You know what I mean? At first, you kind of just go around and around in circles, and then eventually you're like, nope, I'm eating the same thing over and over again. One day, this one probably has a little bit of beans. Maybe it has a little bit of rice, but at the end of the day, it's still chorro at the end of the day.
Jesus.
You know what I'm saying? So, superhero fatigue is not a thing because we just watched Across the Spider-Verse, and we just recorded our review, so go check that out. Make sure notifications are on for when that arrives. But we wound up watching it, and I'll tell you right now, it's not the superhero genre that I'm upset with. It's just the fact that Marvel hasn't been doing it right. And to be fair, DC hasn't been doing it right either. So I haven't been able to get my superhero fixed. The boys have been out of commission. Haven't been able to get my superhero fixed there. So it's like there is superhero shows and movies that are out there that are good. It's just that, are they good? Are they made by some people that care about these characters and want an actual arc and see them go through things and struggle and blah 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 blah, or are they what are they called?
Conveyor belt movies.
Yeah, I don't like that word. I like to say made by committee, as in like executives brainstorm like,
nah, man, these are factory manufactured films. There's no heart. It's just robots assigned to make a movie.
AI is real.
They're just like, damn, what we cooked with last time? Okay. And then they pop that into a formula, and they're like, bloop, there you go. New film, quote unquote.
How can you even say that?
Because it's true.
You like Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi was alright.
You thought that was a conveyor belt movie?
Yes. As good as it was, yeah.
But you still enjoyed it?
Yeah, it had a lot of good action scenes.
Eternals?
I liked Eternals. Eternals, to me, was like a breath of fresh air. I really liked that one. That one was not one of them.
Are you excited for Secret Invasion? That's coming out?
Yes, I know. I'm like 50-50 on it.
It's coming out next Wednesday. So, and I didn't even know that it was that close. I barely noticed it when they wound up putting out that little promo. The little promo thing where I think they showed the first 5 minutes. I didn't even watch that. But I don't know. Did you see it?
No, I didn't see it. I didn't want to do that whole password shit.
So and that's why I say I don't think it's superhero fatigue. And this is what I noticed too. A lot of people label it differently, like superhero fatigue, or some people say DC fatigue, MCU fatigue. I personally call it MCU fatigue because, like I said, superheroes, I'm still down for that shit. I love watching that shit. I'm still waiting for Invincible season 2. It's the MCU, like you said, the formula. If you want to call them conveyor belt, I think that's kind of harsh. It sounds a little too harsh for me. I like to just think that
it's true though.
Yeah, no, it just sounds a little too much. It's just
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I don't think they're conveyor belt
Ant-Man
because
and the Wasp Quantumania.
I like saying committee because it sounds like, like, oh, we just got to make this goal, and so we put our heads together and just try to figure out what's the best direction to go. I don't like to think that it's just.
How can you say that when you didn't like the last?
I'm just saying
movies?
when you say
no. Now we're gonna get to the bottom.
No. Hey, listen here, and I'm gonna tell you why I don't like so you can understand. I don't like conveyor belt ass movies. I don't like when you say it like that because it makes me feel like I'm consuming shit. At least if we say committees, we can dress it up to be like. It was nice that you guys put it together, but no, thank you. You know what I mean? It's just a nicer way to go, okay?
Nah.
Maybe if you stop being a dick, you'd see that.
No. Shit is shit no matter how you coat it up. You can put sprinkles on that motherfucker. It's still going to be shit, but with sprinkles. That's not how this works. They are conveyor belt movies. They've been conveyor belt movies since before Endgame.
So then are you okay? Wait, since before Endgame?
There's been a couple within those first few.
Before Endgame?
With those few phases,
No.
yeah.
With phase 3... What movies were conveyor belt ass movies before Endgame? No. You pulled the trigger. You pulled it.
They've been the same formula forever.
When? When did it start?
Iron Man, right? Set the pace. Great movie. Where have we seen hero get powers and villain get similar powers so they can face off? Saw it in the first Ant-Man. Saw it in Black Panther. Winter Soldier, kind of. That's one of the better ones. That's not one of them, but that's like a hint of the formula there. There's so much more. Thor 2 is ass. You know how
Thor
I feel
doesn't have somebody the same villain. Avengers doesn't do that either. The Dark World doesn't have that. Iron Man 2 doesn't have that.
Isn't the Dark Elf kind of like Thor's like?
No, it's a totally different
like the
species.
same thing.
Iron Man 2, he didn't have to deal with the same.
He had
thing.
the same Iron Man tech. He just dressed it up, and then in the end, he came out in an Iron Man.
To be
suit.
fair, Iron Man was the glue, and is still the glue to hold everything together. So everybody goes for Iron Man tech. And mostly everything has something Tony Stark related in their movie. It's
yeah,
just
but that man looked like Iron Man at the end of that movie. If he was different,
So where did it start?
It started there with Iron Man.
The first Iron Man?
He's the blueprint.
You need to
Granted,
stop.
he did it
You need
best.
to stop. No,
because he was the blueprint.
No.
Yeah,
no.
see, nah. I'm onto something.
No,
That's why you're shutting me down.
I'm gonna let you talk. Go ahead.
I'm telling you because that's what I mean. It's just pumping out the same formula. What happened with Captain Marvel? Happened with Ant-Man. Happened with Black Panther. Like the formula's there. If you're blind to it, then okay, but it's there.
I could say the same thing about a director who uses his own formula, like Christopher Nolan, or who else? Steven Spielberg, all these people. Zack Snyder, you can say that he has a certain formula for his movies. That doesn't make it manufactured. It's just what they put to season the topping. When you have a meat or whatever, you use your favorite seasoning, right? You like Lowry's. You like the Lowry seasoning.
Mm-hmm.
I see you sprinkle that bitch on everything. You don't change it up. You don't be like, you know what? This thing.
No, I do.
No.
Yes,
But what is the topper that you put on top on everything? Lowry's, right? One seasoning to rule them all because you know that it tastes good.
One director using their formula and actually switching it up is different than what the MCU was doing because they're just making the same shit, slapping a different hero's name on it and sending it out. It is different. He was not Zack Snyder's Man of Steel
at a certain
is not equal to his 300. Their formulas, that formula and that formula are two different things. Same man cooking, different recipes though.
You're telling me that the tone, the layout, mostly. I'm not saying the plot and everything. Obviously, the plot got to be different and different protagonists and stuff like that. But you're telling me that he doesn't do certain things that he does with other movies. Same thing with Michael Bay. Same thing with Michael Bay.
His sucker punch and his 300, sure, but he cooks differently.
You're telling me that Man of Steel doesn't remind you of like Sucker Punch and all them?
No, not really.
That's bro. That's oh my god. See, and that's why people
when
like you give us a bad name.
It's different when a director is cooking with different things. The MCU is a company that uses and abuses these directors to pump out the same shit.
At one point, that wasn't the case though. They were actually pumping out different unique stuff.
It wasn't
the
unique.
problem was it was unique, and it was too unique because a lot of people are now finding the first set of movies nice now. I think a lot of people universally liked Iron Man. I think it was half and half with the first Thor. Now people are coming back and being like, well, this was the one that he acted more like Thor and was full of life and blah 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 blah. There was more heart. I'm not saying that at one point that they turned into these manufactured movies that you're saying, but at one point they were actually really good. And for you to discredit them, but quiet. I let you talk. Now you shut up. Now, for you to discredit all this work and be like, "No, they're all the same. They're all the same." No, they're not all the same. You can't do that. You gotta be conscientious.
They were really good when the formula was fresh. Now it's not fresh, and you're able to pick apart that formula. So and I can go back and look at that.
Do you like Iron Man?
What?
Do you like Iron Man 2?
Yeah.
You go back to watch it?
Sometimes.
So it was a good movie, right?
It was a decent watch, yeah.
So it couldn't have been a formula. Because the ones that you feel like you can see the formula the most, you don't watch it. But if they mask up the formula, you're fine with it.
Well, that's not really true because it's a personal preference. Whether I decide to consume shit is my preference. Like, that's, you know what I mean? Like, if I decide to watch Morbius, that's just my preference.
You have a point there.
Think about it like that, though, because like you said, say I decide to watch Iron Man 2. Iron Man 2 being my favorite, I can acknowledge Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2 are almost very similar, but I prefer Iron Man's story in Iron Man 2. But the formula's still there. I'm going to acknowledge it's there, but I'm still going to enjoy it. Some of these aren't like that anymore.
It's not a formula if it's different. It's not a formula if it's different. They still make it different.
How?
Yeah, like I said,
Iron Man and
they put
Ironmonger
a seasoning on it is something different.
Started it
their
and it was
signature seasoning, their signature seasoning
Iron
to
Man
top
2.
off what originally a director puts out that is already delicious and good looking, and they're just like, hey, we're just gonna sprinkle this on top to make it taste that much better. What's the problem?
Doctor Strange, in his last movie that you said you didn't like, fights himself and Wanda, who is essentially another sorceress.
Okay, I'm not arguing with you, but
Formula
those
there.
No.
Black Panther,
you're bringing
Killmonger
up,
versus...
You're bringing up the bad movies. I'm talking about where did it go wrong, and you're saying all the way to the front. I can acknowledge when they started tasting like formula, and that's after Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and I think I said this in a previous podcast. If you guys haven't checked it out, go ahead and check it out. But that's where I felt like everything changed. But how dare you? How dare you disrespect the beginning of the MCU? You're dirty.
It was groundbreaking for its time, but I can acknowledge that, yeah, the formula that was once great has gotten stale, and they don't understand that it's stale, so they're going to keep these conveyor belt movies coming together.
So, I get what you're saying. But at the end of the day,
You just don't like the way I worded it.
They were great in the beginning, right?
Yes.
There you go. So when they went wrong is when. If it wasn't still before, it wasn't. Well, if you want to say that it was still a formula.
Endgame. If you think it's around Volume 2, it's still before Endgame. It's probably around the time Black Panther came out, the first one, maybe a little bit before. Depends on what you look at with the timetable. But yeah.
When did that one come out? Phase 2?
No, I think right around Guardians, right after Civil War.
The first Guardians?
Second Guardians.
Okay. Agree to disagree. But, yeah, superhero fatigue, MCU fatigue, DCU fatigue, DC fatigue, whatever.
Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys feel that, but I hope you're not disrespectful like this motherfucker right over here. I swear to God, bro.
What?
What are you, squeezing out a poo?
No.
Sounded like it. I'm pretty sure to the audience it sounds like it.
Like,
to me, I see that you're trying to flex.
Straight flexing.
But it probably sounds like you're pooping. And I'm just going to put that image in your guys' heads. There you guys go. Moving on, though. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay. So, like I said, he wanted to put in a documentary saying that there was a movie where he tried to ask to word something better that wound up being iconic, and that was in Terminator with James Cameron. Mm-hmm. So, one time, James Cameron wound up he was asked about that line a while back ago, and he basically said it in the nice way where, I guess in the middle of the shoot, they were doing the police station scene, and the line is, "I'll come back." And it wasn't meant to be a big moment at all. James Cameron co-wrote the Terminator. It was literally meant to be on its face, no problem, I'll come back. For some reason, Arnold didn't say, I'll come back, and I said, well, just say, I'll be back, keep it simple. So, Schwarzenegger wound up, that's what James Cameron said, that he kept it simple. But Schwarzenegger wound up putting in his documentary saying that he thought I'll be back sounded funny. Because he was playing a cyborg, he thought I will be back sounded more machine-like and appropriate. I guess when he made the suggestion, Cameron wound up saying back, "Are you a writer?" And Schwarzenegger said no. And he said, "Well, don't tell me how to fucking write."
Damn.
And then it wound up becoming iconic. And Schwarzenegger basically, acknowledged that he was probably in the wrong. And, because, it wound up becoming this iconic line, "I'll be back." So, and this kind of leans in, like I said, to what Jenna Ortega was saying with, like, being an actor and producing and stuff like that. And this is what I mean. Schwarzenegger at the time, this was on the first Terminator. It was, Schwarzenegger on the time.
80s.
Yeah, he was barely coming up. I think this was the movie that made him a movie star. So, he was just there to act. You know what I mean? And this is what I mean. Like, there's a time and a place. And people are bold. People give out ideas, and that's fine. And some people are assholes. And I'm sure James Cameron was young and was basically like, don't.
This is hot. Like, he was.
You got to
hot
think,
shit.
this was the fucking 80s,
Yeah,
bro.
he thought he was hot shit around his
Yeah, my
time.
boy was in fucking Ferraris with no top, smoking cigarettes and probably doing cocaine. That shit was crazy. It was the 80s, bro. Like, he was probably directing and doing a bunch of crazy ass shit. How do you think he got the idea to do blue fucking aliens later on in the fucking life? I don't know. So, do you think that this would be a cry for checking on your mental health, like Jenna Ortega said? Or?
Well, no, because, I mean, this is just part of the gig at the time. Now it's all about your feelings and this and that. But way back when, you were just there to do your job. There was no pushback. If you had a creative idea and the dude behind the camera was like, "Let's give it a shot, see if it works," then cool. You were in the clear. But if you're told to shut up and act, just act. No boo-hoo about it. You just did it. That's what he did. He was coming straight from Austria, straight off of doing, like, Conan and shit like that. He had no right to be like, "This sounds weird." Like, it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
That was your Schwarzenegger?
He said this in his documentary, the one on Netflix?
Yeah.
I gotta watch it still.
Yeah.
I want to check it out. But
yeah, I wanted to watch it too. I heard it goes like in depth with his bodybuilding career too.
Hopefully it's more interesting than Fubar, because my God. Fubar.
Oh, did you watch it or
no? Off that trailer, I'm not that interested in Arnold like that.
No? Yeah.
In his career,
That's the Terminator, man.
And his career afterward I don't feel as involved like Stallone. At least with Stallone and where he took Tulsa King, I can enjoy that more than Fubar.
It's worth a watch. I'll probably give it a gander, but I don't know how excited I am for his TV show. But yeah, make sure you don't talk back to your directors. But somebody who is trying to holler at the CEO at DC Studios, and that's Stephen Amell, basically getting honest with the new direction of the DCU. Says that it's confusing people. So he basically says this. I don't know. When asked if he's excited about the new direction that DC Studios will be heading, he says, "I don't know, man. I don't know. Those guys, the DCU, they need to decide if they think that they're better than television or if they want to participate, because I get mixed messages, which to me just signals that, I don't know. You guys do your own thing. We do our own thing. I wish everyone nothing but the best. I want nothing more than amazing movies, but right now they need us a lot more than we need them. I am a custodian for Oliver Queen, and Grant Gustin is a custodian for Barry Allen. In the same way that, look, I don't think anyone's asking Tom Welling how he feels about who's going to play the new Superman now. I get the proximity and stuff like that, but there will be another Oliver Queen. There will, and it'll be a new and cool and exciting, and however much the internet hates it is probably a direct indication as to how good it's going to be. You've got to remember that these people aren't picked at random. Very, very smart people think long and hard about how they're going to go about this, and I'm sure that whoever they pick, if in fact they do, maybe they don't care about the character, I don't know. They'll do an amazing job. What do you think?
That's fair. That's a fair way to put it. Because, yeah, I don't know what it is. Their rights with TV are so funky, dude. Because, like, even back to, like, taking it back to, like, the 2000s. Like, there was a reason why in cartoons you couldn't have Nightwing and Robin in 2 different shows. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? So like now it's a lot of now I don't know if it's cleared up or not, but because of TV rights and all that, it makes it hard to do what you want. Like they almost established their own Justice League on the TV shows, but they didn't have a Batman. You know what I mean? They didn't even have Superman. They had Supergirl.
That's what I always wondered. Well, and I told you before in a different episode, we streaming kind of blurred that fine line between movie and TV. Now we see actors do TV shows, but only like limited series and stuff like that. You'll never see them, not one of them, caught dead in like a CW show, unless it's like Ezra Miller or something who does everything for no fucking reason. But
No, man, that was a cool Easter egg. Don't even.
I'm not gonna shit on it, but
Yeah.
he's always just down, bro.
Yeah.
Like you.
Yeah, you should be down.
They're just like, oh, Ezra. Hey. And he's like, yeah, I'm fucking down. But
you should be down.
You're probably right. But there was a bad stigma at one point where it was like, you can't be on television.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a movie star, you're a movie star. You know, at one point, that's what the rumor mill was saying when Henry Cavill left The Witcher, that, you know, not only was it going in a bad direction, but his agent also said it's a bad look to be on TV if you're making a movie. You know what I mean? But nowadays, streaming, they take these, they call them long format movies. You know what I mean? 6-hour movies, 1-hour episodes. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a new wave. But they're not gonna, but they won't dare bring somebody like Stephen Amell or Grant Gustin into the movie scene, which is crazy, because why is Ezra able to, you know, in a way, why are they able to date down but they can't date up? You know what I'm saying? Like they can bring somebody like Ezra Miller down there, but you can't bring somebody like Grant Gustin up there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, and it's tough because I'm sure they've had their fill. You know what I mean? Of DC stuff. I don't imagine Grant ever coming back to the Flash unless they're like cameo in Superman and Lois or whatever. But like I don't see it happening. So for them, if they're willing to pass on the torches, then cool. Let someone else do it. But yeah, it wouldn't make much sense for them to move up. And I don't even think James Gunn would have that discussion.
Yeah, and let's be fair. You know what? I haven't seen Arrow, so I can't speak on Amell, but can we say that Grant Gustin is movie material? Like, I know a lot of people were calling to make him the DCU Flash, but can he really do it?
He can act. He actually has really good like acting chops. You know what I mean? I'm not sure if they're polished because none of actors, you know, really polished. I've only ever seen him as the Flash, so I don't know what he can do outside of Barry. But like, he can act. Like when a heartfelt scene needed him to like cry and actually bring down like the toning and stuff, he did it. So I'm sure he's movie material, but
nobody's gonna give him the chance.
Nobody's gonna give him the chance. Exactly. He's been doing it for too long now, which is insane. Because think about it, they had what's his name on Legends,
The OG?
Brandon Routh.
Oh yeah,
Superman. They had him on Legends, and then they had him come back to play Superman too. So he obviously downgraded. Like you can tell that's a downgrade. But then you got
Well, how many movies have you seen him in? That's the thing.
I think he's been in a couple besides Superman.
Well, not as of
No,
recently.
not as of recently. He's been doing the shows.
Yeah, because he got demoted to TV.
Exactly. And what's his name? What is his name? The dude from 2.5 Men. Was he a movie actor? Not Charlie Sheen, the other guy.
He was always a TV.
He's
actor.
always been a TV guy. Yeah, he was the Lex Luthor in that whole crossover event thing. So he's like a famous TV person.
Yeah, the last movie he was in Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Damn, that's a long time.
Yeah, 2010.
I guess he has been doing a lot of TV then.
Yeah, he did a lot of voice acting for like DC and stuff like that too.
No.
Animation. That's yeah.
We'll see. So there's clearly that fine line, and I don't think any of them are going to open up that conversation for these people.
No. Like I said,
But
there's still a bad stigma, which is weird. Like I said,
exactly,
it's getting blurred, but yet it's still a line.
Exactly, because he said he wants to branch out to TV shows too. That's what Creatures Commandos is. So like they're fine doing TV shows as long as it's a movie actor part of a connected universe, not something different, which doesn't make it doesn't make sense to me.
Well, the TV shows are gonna go on Max. You know what I mean? They're not gonna be on CW, which, let's be honest, doesn't really have a big budget. Which, yeah, I think Disney did the same thing, right? They didn't it was on their network ABC, but they didn't acknowledge Agents of Shield like that. Supposedly, it was supposed to be Coulson. Pretended to die, and it was like a series about him, and Ghost Rider was in there and shit like that. But it was never canon to the actual.
That one, no. The Runaways, no. Cloak and Dagger, those shows didn't make it.
Yeah,
which I wish they would have, because I heard Legion did really good.
Legion's were good,
and The Gifted, I guess, which is like that X-Men one.
I wanted to get into that.
I heard that one was like
the one I wanted to see too was the one that we seen in Multiverse of Madness, the one Black Bolt, right?
Oh, Inhumans.
Yeah, Inhumans, but
I heard that shit was ass.
Yeah, and there's only
that was
one season.
So garbage. Yeah,
but I seen one clip where I guess he said something to his parents and he killed his parents, and I was like, oh, that was crazy. It was like a small clip.
Yeah, no, a lot of these shows don't do them justice, because even then, like I told you, I was excited to hear that the Runaways was getting their own show. Like, I've read their comics.
They're good.
Like,
have you seen the show?
I saw like a few episodes, but I wasn't.
Well, that's why it got fucking canceled, because you don't fucking watch it, man.
I wasn't vibing with it, like especially after reading the comics. Like,
I watched it all. It was actually pretty good.
Yeah,
yeah. The third season, not so much, but I was assuming, because I was like around the acquisition when that season was coming out, so I didn't know if like Disney fucked with it like they did with Days of Futures Past and all that shit,
like New Mutants and all that.
Yeah. So, not Days of Futures Past, yeah, New Mutants and all that. So, I didn't know if maybe that was the reason, but yeah, it wasn't a bad show. The first season, I thought it was really nice.
Yeah, no.
Maybe
I'll have to go back and watch all these shows, but yeah, no, none of these are canon, which is crazy, because I guess apparently a lot of what happened in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. leads to the bigger outside universe. Like, I guess because of what I heard that one season or one of a few episodes in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they find out that what's his name has the Tesseract in one of the episodes, and then that leads the Avengers to find out in Age of Ultron that they know where to go look for the thing. So I didn't know that, but I guess it is supposed to be canon, but now it's just not.
Yeah, that, what do you call it? That's I heard it was like coexisting with the MCU. Like, it was literally like the redheaded stepchild that they didn't want to acknowledge. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just like, oh, is that your little brother? And they were just like, no, I don't know who that is. He just walked in with me. You know what I mean? Like, that's how they acted. But I heard like everything, like even to the point where they retconned or like fixed that whole bar scene that they had in The Incredible Hulk with General Ross or whatever. Like, they even like added context to it. They did a lot, and I think even in the Netflix show in Luke Cage, they had a because at one point I was like, oh, it's the same thing. Like, Netflix is kind of skirting that line. But in Luke Cage, they even mentioned the whole New York thing that happened. So it was like,
I thought they name drop Captain America and all that too.
Exactly. So I was assuming like, oh, that it's the same thing. Like, those your kids, and it was just like, you know what I mean? Like, that ain't mine.
No. So they just chose to not acknowledge any of these shows, which is crazy.
Yeah. So being a TV show and movie
DC's different though, because they made it a big thing. So
but I would think they would. I would think though, if they're gonna explore the multiverse, they should be doing that though. At least bringing the TV show people up on there. You know what I mean? Because even though it looked shitty, that whole scene for the Titans where they went through the multiverse, I thought that was pretty neat. And it's nice that they showed Shazam, even though they didn't show Zachary Levi's face. They were like, oh, we ain't got clearance for that. We're going to make him turn. Like, they showed him, you know what I mean? And I thought that was very smart for them to do. It actually makes it feel like DC's connected. Like, they ain't afraid to look at those little projects, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what they did with that whole Crisis. I told you they like brought in Titans, they brought in the Doom Patrol, and hell, they went back to that old ass Robin from what's his name?
I just thought about it. Maybe it's different too because it was on Max. The last season was on Max. It wasn't on CW.
Oh, maybe, I don't know, but yeah. So I'm sure they'll acknowledge it. Maybe in the Flash movie they show that sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to wait and see for that one.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I mean, I think he's right. They definitely need them
for
more than they need, you know.
Yeah, and I think also too when they were saying like when they say if they want to participate in mixed messages and which to me just signals that I don't know, you guys do your own thing. I don't know if like he also meant when he said that, I don't know if he meant like hearing mixed messages. Like I know a lot of people say too, you know, that the CW did it right with the multiverse and stuff like that, right? Like a lot of people, though the CGI is trash and the acting might be a little abysmal sometimes, like they did the whole multiverse thing right. A lot of people say the CW did it right.
Yeah.
Whereas the DCU is gonna dip into this right now, you know what I mean, and basically, you know, copy. And it, like, is that, I don't know, did you pick that up from what he was saying, or no? Like, do you think that they should be copying what they do with the CW show, or should they be making their own lane and doing their own thing?
Not copy, but they should at least acknowledge that, hey, this thing happened. You know what I mean? Because even like what they do with the MCU, you know what I mean? Where they're like, oh, everything is connected and it's that blue wavy tree or whatnot. Like they should mention something saying like, oh, their thing is here and we're here. And, you know, we coexist in a different multiverse plane or whatever. But they should acknowledge them to a certain extent. For them not to would be kind of disrespectful, I think.
Yeah.
Because they, I mean, not to sound bitter, but at the same time, not to dig at my own universe, but they kind of established a lot more with their stuff than we got in our movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's weird.
Hey, man. He didn't even get a fucking chance to do it, okay? He didn't get it.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying any of that.
No,
I'm just saying, like,
I know.
you know what I mean? Before all that argument starts, but that's just something to think.
Don't
consider.
get me started.
Something to consider.
But one thing that I did want to bring up now, Hayden Christensen and Diego Luna wound up having a little talk on Variety. It's very nice. If you haven't seen it, it's on YouTube.
I've seen a few clips of
it. He talks about him that I guess his daughter knows that he's Darth Vader, but he has yet to show her Darth Vader or any Star Wars project at all. And he basically says that he's been reluctant and dragging his feet to introducing his daughter to the character Darth Vader. She's seen him and knows about him, but hasn't seen the movies. He says that there's disturbing scenes in the movie, that she's 8 now. I don't know if I can wait much longer. I know I've been dragging my feet a little bit, but she knows that I'm in Star Wars and that I played this character, but she's never seen it yet. I'm getting to that. I'm trying to figure out the best sort of point of entry. There are some disturbing scenes I'm reluctant for her to see at this age. Look, man, I'd be reluctant to show my daughter if I killed a bunch of kids too. But,
yeah,
you know,
basically,
as a father, I just say you should just like a Band-Aid and just tell her it's fake. But, I mean, I don't know. I know you're not a father. I know you don't have kids and stuff. But do you think showing the prequel trilogies to young kids and, you know, him keeping it away from his daughter, like, do you think that really does something? Or do you think,
not
like,
really.
it should be taken like, oh, no, it's just sci-fi, like Darth Vader?
No, it should be taken like fake and fictional. You know what I mean? Star Wars is meant to be a thing that anyone at any age can enjoy, for the most part, if you can understand it. But to want to withhold that and be like, okay, no, because of disturbing scenes, like, that sounds dumb. You know what I mean? It's not like it's a horror movie. You know what I mean? You're not showing her Halloween Kills and so on and so forth. You're showing her Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Just be like, hey, yeah, I did it, you know, but it's not real and whatnot and so forth. If she's 8, she'll grasp that completely, I imagine, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think him tiptoeing is just, I don't know what it could be, but I don't think he should be tiptoeing it.
Nah. I mean, everybody to each his own. I'm not going to tell anybody how to, you know, do the thing, but I just thought it was a little funny little piece of the of that portion, but because he does go on and, you know, talk about how his relatability went on when it came to falling to the dark side. And, you know, a lot of people really bullied him off the internet when he was coming up and, you know, playing Anakin Skywalker back in, obviously, Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, calling him whiny, saying, you know, that he was very one-note kind of character or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, he was very, like, same tone throughout the whole movie. Like, didn't really show that much acting chops, blah, blah, blah. Like, a lot of people really dragged his character for some reason. Now he's finding the love that he deserves, and that's why, you know, he's on Variety and came back to have the chance to reprise his role as Darth Vader and Anakin and Obi-Wan Kenobi. But he does break down the way he saw it, and he says that he thinks that they understood I think we understood what Anakin was going through and why he was making some choices that weren't the best, and the circumstances surrounding his life. So it was very understandable fall to the dark side, but it humanized him and made him a real person, and almost somewhat of a pathetic person in a lot of ways. And you feel for Darth Vader now in different ways too, because it's this man trapped in this life that perhaps he didn't really want. And that's honestly, as a prequel fan, me myself, who's seen it since the very beginning and fell in love with it, because honestly I grew up with these movies. Like, if you ask me which are the three that I know the first three by heart, by hand. The original trilogy, I know them too because they're older movies, but I would know Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, and The Phantom Menace before those original. And a lot of people said that, you know, he was whiny and stuff like that, like I told you. And that was just me saying, like, well, if he's whiny, he's a relatable character. You know what I mean? If you can see these emotions and, you know, the way that he's portraying, yeah, he's very flat toned and stuff like that. But later on as Darth Vader, that's who he is as well. Yeah. You know, even, like, you're not going to see him behind the mask, like, oh, yeah, whatever, you know what I mean? Doing all this crazy shit. No, he was always like that. And I really like that they brought a little bit more funness to his character throughout the Clone Wars series and gave him a lot more, you know, backstory. Like, I like what they brought to the table with him as well. But at the same time, him being this serious guy in the times that he needs to, but then seeing him in Attack of the Clones where, you know, even though the CGI is bad, you know, he was having a fun time, smiling, doing all that stuff. It translates that well and it humanizes him. So finding the love that it finally deserves sits right in my heart now.
That's a fair way to put it. Because I can only imagine, you know what I mean? Obviously this isn't my era of movies. I got the sequel trilogy. So, like, I mean, I know them like the back of my hand. It's probably why I defend them so much. But, like, I can understand that, yeah, he was bullied, you know what I mean? Which is a very fucking ridiculous trend to know that this bitch, the Star Wars fandom has always been kind of this way since the fucking 2000s, apparently. Or not even 1990-something when The Phantom Menace came out. But, yeah, I can understand. Because even I think he was kind of relatable, too. Like, I can not to the point of killing the younglings, but, you know, like, feelings-wise, I understood what he was going for and stuff. So, for him to be getting that love is cool. And, I mean, I've always loved him, too. So, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah. So, hopefully you show your daughter these Star Wars movies and let her see how relatable you really are, sir. Not the younglings part, though.
Just be like, we're skipping all this.
Yeah, right. Just this quick scene, real quick. And Obi-Wan Kenobi too. Just this quick scene. Just keep going. Because that one they actually showed him stabbing the little girl, huh?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, something like that.
Damn, savages. We're hitting our last couple of topics here, Josh. But you know, one of them that I wanted to bring up was. Yeah, well, they're both going to be pretty action-packed. One of them is going to be a new take on what Empire Magazine calls a 007 Mission Impossible type movie, just with Gal Gadot, called Heart of Stone. We wound up getting a little snippet about it. She wound up coming out on a podcast basically saying that she grew up watching Bond and Mission Born, and she wanted to create a really strong female-driven action movie for... that is for everybody, not a male story that's been done many times. Okay. Saying that she doesn't like it to be compared to 007 or Mission Impossible. Saying that she's doing something completely new and terrific. Now, all that's great and good, and
Sign me up.
I'm with it. I'm with it. But Netflix is fucking making it, bro. So I mean,
sign me up anyway.
Yeah,
sign me up anyway.
You haven't even seen Gal Gadot like that, man.
I'll take my chances. Sign me up anyway.
You haven't even seen Red Notice still.
Get off my ass, yeah. No, I just get all the way off my back about this one. But yeah, no, I don't care. Sign me up. I am fine. I am A-okay with this.
Well, let's watch a little snippet. It's here on YouTube. It's called Heart of Stone.
Does it give a release date?
I don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see after watching it.
Thought you would have seen it already.
No.
All right, here, play.
You know what you signed up for. No friends. No relationships. What we do is too important.
Action! Heart of Stone is gonna be extremely epic. It's a super grounded, raw action thriller.
It has these characters that you really connect with and feel for. Target approaching.
Take it I'm no longer compromised.
There's so much going on, and it's so big scale.
We really wanted to make sure we keep it realistic so people can feel the pain. Rachel Stone lives off the adrenaline. She's addicted to it.
Stone? Stone!
$2023. No release date.
Just this year. Damn it.
Probably Netflix. Probably in the winter time. Oh,
I vibe with that.
August 11th.
Oh, well, shit. That's like right around the fucking corner.
Yeah. August 11th.
I want it now. Give it to me.
I vibe with this. You know what? I take it back. Netflix does okay with action movies because, like I said, Extraction. I'm excited for part 2. The first one was actually really well done. A lot of action movies that Netflix produces are actually pretty decent. Maybe because it's more grounded. Like I know you said you didn't watch Underground 6, but I would say that one was actually a pretty decent one too.
Maybe.
It's all about the director, I guess.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
I think the problem is that Netflix let too many directors get up in here. Then it's kind of like, well, which one can we say is good and which one's not? You know?
Nah, man. You gotta let all of them try, and if they make it, they make it. And if they don't, they don't. Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't want to have to like wonder. Like you don't want people to come into your home and be like, I wonder if I should watch this movie, because I feel like I catch myself with Netflix doing that a lot, where I'm like, do I want to watch this movie? Is it worth my time? Am I going to regret watching it? You know what I mean? Like, when you go into it, you want, like, HBO Max, when I go in there and I'm like, oh, I'm going to look for a movie, I can be like, yeah, I'm in good hands here. You know what I mean? Like, regardless, even if it's not that great, at least there's some production value behind it, you know? But then when it comes down to, like, some Netflix stuff, it's like, eesh, why you do?
Damn.
Why they do that? You know what I mean?
Maybe. I don't know. But that one looks cool. I'm down with that. The Gal Gadot one.
You could get jiggy with this?
Indeed.
Yeah. Indubitably?
Yeah.
All right. One last one, though. I want to see if you can get jiggy with this. Expendables 4. We got a new trailer. They just get older and older. And they don't... Oh, you haven't seen the other ones?
No.
You don't watch them?
I have not.
I thought you said you like Stallone.
I do.
He's just too old?
I just haven't seen them in action movies like that. I hear the first ones are all right, I guess, but I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I haven't seen them.
If you're looking for like good action, like A-Team type shit, these movies are pretty. The third one is kind of iffy, but Mel Gibson's villain in that one is pretty unhinged, and I like them.
I gotta watch them.
But this one kind of comes off of a weird hiatus. The third one was supposed to be the last one, so this is gonna be like the fourth. You know how like Toy Story made their fourth, and a lot of movies just are like, hey, let's make a fourth part. Matrix made a fourth. Yeah. So this could go down that route where it's like a cash grab,
Unnecessary.
and it's probably that, you know, that redheaded stepchild nobody wants to look at, and it's just like, that one's with you.
Shame. A real shame.
But we'll see. I heard Megan Fox is in this one too, so
Yeah.
maybe it'll pique some kind of interest in you wanting to check out the franchise.
Okay.
Let's fly, baby! Bring it!
Welcome home, honey.
Do you read now?
What is this?
It's classified.
Coming with you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Still together.
You weren't invited.
Nothing can stop me, I can't get enough. Playing with danger is bad behavior. Bad behavior. They call it bad behavior.
Hey, why are you here?
I got this situation where I need your help.
I need bad friends.
Was I the new guy?
This our sniper?
Don't worry about it. I got a prescription scope.
Well, Hawkeyes, remember this face. Don't shoot it by accident.
Terrorists have taken possession of nuclear missiles on a cargo ship off the coast. If these babies go off, it'll be World War III.
Take cover!
To choose this life over friends, over family.
It's time to get loud.
Let's fly, baby! Come on, bring it! I'm gonna win big. Choose not a life of imitation. Distant constitute the reservation.
Now that's what I'm talking about. Is that the biggest one you've got? Oh, it's way bigger than that.
They'll die when they're dead?
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah, that's been their slogan forever.
They'll die when they're dead. That's funny.
It's because they're so old that they just refuse to stop exploding things.
I don't know. They look kind of cool. The action look decent. This doesn't look like something you'd be like, cinema. This looks like something you could turn your brain off and enjoy.
Yeah, you ever you seen any other Expendables trailers? You've
No.
heard of them,
Yes.
but you never seen like trailers or anything like
Nah.
that. So, for me, I mean, it's because it has a lot of the older, especially like the first three. They have a lot of the older action stars. Like Jet Li was in one of them as well too. And I was just like, you know, if you've seen like, have you ever seen that movie War? Probably not, huh? Jet Li was in that one. There was another one too where like he has like a necklace on. I forgot what that one was called, but yeah, it has a lot of older action stars. So maybe, and this was kind of like, I wanted to see something too because I was like, does the younger crowd even appreciate like these kind of movies because you know the action stars and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
And it just seems like you don't. And so big fuck you to that. But to be honest,
I like Jason Statham.
And
I almost called him Arnold Stallone.
Okay, but just never was like these movies. I don't even care if I sound salty about this shit either. This is some bullshit. I feel insulted because you don't watch these movies, or at least have some sort of knowledge to the first one.
This guy.
Do you know the lore?
No, I don't.
Do you know how fucking Homeboy came back from the dead, and how they got their slogan?
That didn't even.
I know
That didn't even make any sense. You didn't give me a name. You said, "What's his name?" And I'm just like, "Well, that doesn't give me a picture." Are we talking about Statham? Or are we talking
I'm just
about,
trying to spice it up. I don't know how to
talking about
spice up.
Stallone. This is some bullshit.
I don't
know
know.
anything about these guys. You're not having me out by not giving me a name.
I don't know how to spice up the Expendables. So I'm just trying to spice it up.
I don't know.
But I mean, what do you think?
They look pretty good.
Does this put you on? Are you feeling like I can watch these movies? Or are you feeling like
I think I can watch these movies. I don't know about this one specifically. This one kind of, the trailer kind of looked like a straight to video kind of trailer. If I'm being for real, it gave me that kind of vibe.
That weird Jason Statham and Megan Fox beginning fight thing was kind of off.
Yeah,
and then he just kind of shows up and is like, "I got a thing that I need your help with," and he's just like, "I'll help you with that thing." And
Say less.
if it's that easy to leave Megan Fox at home, well, you guys.
What do you mean? It looked like he took it with him.
If anything, I'm just like, they're just okay with domestic abuse like this. Like it looked like they were destroying their house.
Domestic abuse is cool as long as it's Mr. and Mrs. Smith style, and then they get it on afterward.
Very good. Good job, Statham. I can't even be mad at that. He bagged Megan Fox. And you said that ex of Machine Gun Kelly, are they not together anymore?
No, they're not together anymore.
I thought it was like a false thing.
No.
I thought they actually are still together.
No. She followed Eminem, man. I don't think he can recover after that one.
Wow. That was probably dirty. When she was leaving, and I'm gonna fuck Eminem. Imagine.
And your music's garbage, you fake rapper. No. She just starts going for his neck. As she's leaving, she blasts Eminem.
Throws mainstream sellout out the window. Damn. R.I.P. Machine Gun Kelly. But with that is going to be our last topic of this episode. If there's something that we missed that we should have been talking about, but we didn't, a topic that you guys want us to discuss, a movie you guys want us to review, or you guys want to support us in a big way, hey, Josh, go ahead and let them know where they can let us know.
Twitter, TikTok, Instagram at FilmBros Podcast. You can hit us up there. Let us know about any movies or news you want us to cover. Listen to us on the go at Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere you get your podcast at FilmBros Podcast. Support us in a big way. Buzzsprout links are in our bios of the socials I just mentioned. Subscribe there. Get shout outs during our episodes and special perks. And then when it's all said and done, subscribe to our YouTube at FilmBros Podcast.
And with that being said, we'll talk to you guys on the next one.
Talk to you all later.